beats down on your house 52 weeks a year. But we only seem to think about it in the summertime.
Insulating your attic may keep your living space more comfortable, but it leaves your attic space unprotected against the sun's radiant heat. How that costs you money and what can be done about it are what David Hatcher with Gulf Coast Windows will help us understand. Thanks for joining us this morning on Early Edition, David.
Thank you very much.
So let's talk about why a hot attic is a problem in the first place.
Well, as anybody knows, when you walk up in your attic, the heat difference between your house and your attic is usually very significant, especially in Houston. And the heat in the attic, when it gets trapped in there, it starts to come through the surfaces into the house, which creates a situation where your air conditioning has to work harder to keep the temperature steady in your house.
All right. So we've got this hot attic up atop, and what's in it?
A lot of stuff.
Well, yeah, you've got all. First of all,
how do we work around that?
Well, no, but I'm just talking about. I'm talking about. You got your hot water heater and your air conditioning, and you're saying that's going to make it more. It's going to make it difficult for those to run efficiently.
Any appliance that you have in there, or any appliance that's trying to keep your house at a comfortable level, is going to have to work harder if there's heat trapped in your attic.
All right. So explain what difference a radiant barrier makes and how it works for us.
Well, about somewhere between 50 and 75% of the heat that actually gets into the attic comes through what's called radiation heat. And what a radiant barrier does is creates a dead air space and reflects back that radiant heat back out of the house so that it never enters your attic. In fact, there's quite a few studies that have shown anywhere from 23 to 38 degree difference in your attic once you've put the radiant barrier up.
Oh. Now, aren't there some different choices like paints and foils? What's the difference?
Well, there are some different choices, but if we specifically talk about the types of barrier that are actually touching the ceiling, those only work to try to eliminate the convective and conductive heat. They don't do anything for radiant heat. And since the radiant heat is the vast majority of the heat that actually gets into your attic, those don't really help you because they don't create that dead air space and they don't reflect it back as efficiently as the green energy barrier does.
Okay, so let's talk about your green energy barrier. How does it work?
Well, what we do is we put it up and it actually goes in the rafters in your house. So it's going to create about a 4-inch space between the decking on your roof and where the radiant barrier is. And the radiant barrier is actually the exact same material that NASA designed and is currently in spacesuits that they use in space because they have huge heat and cold swings. And that dead air space, in conjunction with the radiant barrier, reflects the heat, the radiant heat back out, and it reflects about 97% of the heat back out of the house so that it never gets into the attic.
So it becomes, the space between the rafters becomes like a big chimney then, and just taking that heat straight up to the ridge vent.
That's correct. It takes it between reflecting it out and then also pushing it up towards the ventilation areas. It actually prevents it from getting in your attic and all the bad things that we just talked about a moment ago.
David, what kind of savings could we expect on our energy bills with this?
Well, you can easily expect a 20 to 40% reduction in your energy bill by using something like Green Energy Barrier, which is a very effective radiant barrier. So it obviously will pay for itself in both not only in cost savings but also in comfort level because you don't have to continually hear your air conditioning turning on and off because it's helping to maintain the consistency of the temperature in the home.
And what kind of timeline are we looking at to get that installed?
The nice thing about it is number one, it does still qualify for the $1,500 energy tax credit, which expires at the end of the year, and we can usually get it in within just a few business days of the order.
Perfect. Green Energy Barrier from Gulf Coast Windows is the advanced technology installed in your attic to save you money throughout the year. You can learn more by visiting GulfCoastWindows.com. Thanks for being with us this morning, David.